is a zoonotic virus. It absolutely started in an animal species and made that hop into humans. So it's not at all surprising that it can then move from humans back into animals.
So what has your research uncovered so far in terms of domestic pets and their risk, first of all, of getting COVID, but also passing it on to humans?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, like you said, cats and dogs have been found to be naturally able to get COVID from, particularly their infected owners. The good news is that dogs in particular do not seem like they can then pass it on to other animals. Cats, it's a little bit of an open question. The good news about domestic pets too, though, is that they tend to be kept inside of the house, so they don't have a ton of opportunities to potentially transmit to other animals. We're a little bit worried about things like outdoor cats. They could potentially be interacting with other cats, feral cats, or even with things like rodents, and potentially able to spread it onto those kind of urban wildlife.
Well, we know through history how much rodents have played a part in pestilence in humans. So what do we know about rodents and getting COVID?
So right now, we do know that some rodent species can be infected with COVID-19. We haven't seen it yet naturally, which is good news. In places like Australia, where you have really excellent control, public health controls, we don't think that there's a high risk of this kind of human to rodent transmission. But in places where there's uncontrolled spread, unfortunately, particularly in the US, we're very concerned about that. And so we're doing surveillance right now of, urban wildlife as well as other wildlife that are maybe more rural.
What are your examples there? You talk about uncontrolled spread. What are examples of fears how this could spread in the US from humans to animals?
Yeah, so the risk to animals is the risk that, an animal can only get infected if a human is infected. And so when we're seeing this, human to human transmission that is just so common, where we don't have a lot of contact tracing, people may not be quarantining, that is naturally a risk. That's just a risk factor. So, of course, we're concerned about domestic pets, but we're also really concerned about accidental spread from humans into wildlife. That could happen with direct contact. Maybe you're on a hike, or like I said, in your home with a rat. But it could also be something indirect, like through untreated wastewater. Sewage water is pushed out into our water systems and potentially could be infecting things like marine mammals.
The thing that came to my mind when looking at this story was, well, let's be frank, pet owners can be very close to their animals, in particular with dogs. We've all seen those sort of images of people and wondering if there's any sort of line some of these owners don't cross. Is that a potential concern? Humans maybe giving it to dogs, dogs giving it to other dogs, and then back to another human? Do pet owners, perhaps more in the US, need to be more conscious of hygiene than they have been before?
So I have good news. We were really concerned about that at first. We had pet owners who were involved in our study take a survey. You might not be surprised to find that, particularly with dogs, people have a lot of close contact. There is a lot of licking of the face, sleeping together in the same bed. But like I said, we know now both from real world surveillance and also in the lab that dogs really don't seem to be at risk. Another good thing is that not only can they not transmit it, but both dogs and cats, if they do get disease, it's really, really mild. It's nothing like what we see with humans, where it can be a very severe disease so far.
Right. Well, yeah, for better or for worse, then those owners can still be very close with their canine friends. Just finally, this would all seem to lead to, at the moment, not a great urge for pets to get vaccinated. I mean, apart from anything else, right now, of course, the vaccine is in short supply. So if that were to happen, you'd be talking years away.
Probably. So we actually have had, well, not we, in the US, there has been at least one vaccine campaign that I know of. It was with an experimental vaccine, so nothing even close to human use. And it was in the black-footed ferret, which is a highly endangered species. So I think that if we are going to be vaccinating animals, that's probably going to be the scenario. This is a very weird time. So we want to protect these animals that may be relying on us. And fortunately, we have so many companies that are working on vaccines right now. There may be an opportunity to do so in a way that doesn't take away from, any vaccines meant for humans.